Good morning, guys. Luke here. Welcome back. In today's podcast, we are talking about a bit of a nasty ruling against Apple at the moment. Unfortunately, they have had to take the Apple Watch 9 and the Ultra 2 off the shelves, and there's a bit of a interesting dilemma happening there. I'll talk to you about it in detail so you can find out what's happening. The Google Gboard, which is my favorite keyboard for any mobile device, has had an update, and there's a really great feature that's just dropped with that update. So we're going to talk about that in detail. And the Nothing Phone 2A. So there were lots of rumors floating around about this, whether it's going to happen, and looks like it is going to happen. There has been some actual photos of the device. Not really sure how I feel about it. It's a bit of a weird looking phone. Anyway, let's talk about it in detail. But let's start with Apple having to remove the Apple Watch 8 and Ultra 2. Sorry, Apple Watch 9 and Ultra 2. All right, guys, before I jump into today's topic, I just wanted to do a 30-second update on Beeper Mini. So Beeper Mini is obviously the Android app that allows you to send iMessages. I've been using it, just testing it really, just to see how well it does, whether it's a reliable option. And it was working really well. For about a week, it was pretty much no issues whatsoever. However, over the last 3 days, it just has been so sporadic. Like, it'll work for an hour and then it won't work. And then I can send messages, but I can't reply to messages. It's just very hit and miss right now. It's kind of all over the place. There's obviously a lot happening with the app. Like, if you go and have a look on Twitter, there's lots of updates back and forward. You know, they're in the news at the moment. There's like politicians and all kinds of investigations and everything happening with the app. So it's a very strange time for the Beeper Mini app. But yeah, I've been following their feed and they haven't really said anything about any issues right now. So I can't really work out why it's not working. I just tried it and I could send messages to my other number, but I couldn't receive any back, which is really weird. Anyway, just thought I'd give you an update if you're a Beeper Mini user, and maybe you can let me know how you're going with things. So let's jump into our first topic, which is Apple having to remove the Apple Watch 9 and Apple Watch Ultra 2 off the shelves this week. All right, guys, so there's an article that I've been looking at today. It's on GSM Arena. It's also on some other sites, and it's just saying that Apple has to preemptively remove the Watch Series 9 and Watch Ultra 2 in the US, and basically it's to comply with an ITC ruling regarding a patent dispute with Masimo. And it just says that the ruling bans Apple from selling both watches in the US on its website after 3 p.m. on the 21st of this month and in stores from the 24th of December. It says that the ruling is regarding Apple using a medical device maker, Masimo technology, in the two watches. It uses an SpO2, a blood oxygen sensor. It just says that the Apple spokesperson, Nikki Rothberg, says Apple strongly disagrees with the order and is pursuing a range of legal and technical options to keep the two devices on the store shelves. Masimo filed 2 cases against Apple, one with the US District Court and another with the ITC, and it's now up to US President Biden to decide whether to uphold the ban or veto it, which is a rare occurrence. It says that in 2013, Barack Obama vetoed an ITC import ban on the iPhone 4, though President Biden has upheld an ITC ruling against the Apple Watch over the EKG feature in the past. So, yeah, it sounds like basically what's happening is this brand, Masimo, has some kind of patent or some kind of technology that reads blood oxygen levels, and they're saying that the Apple Watch 9 and Ultra 2 has somehow infringed on that. There's obviously a lot more to it than that. There's some more detail there that we probably don't know, but it only applies to the Watch 9 and Ultra 2 because they're the only ones that have started using this technology, and it only applies to the US at this stage. So if you're in Australia, if you're in Canada, if you're in Europe, you can still go out and buy the Watch 9 and Ultra 2. Yeah, it should be pretty interesting. I imagine Apple's going to fight this pretty hard because this is, their newest piece of technology, and they want to sell as many of these as humanly possible. Probably really bad timing when you think about it, because it's the Christmas period, and they would probably sell a lot of these devices in the next week or so. If you're thinking about getting a Watch Series 9 or Ultra 2, strongly recommend you go and get that ASAP, because you're probably not going to be able to buy it in the next couple of days. All right, guys, let's move on to our second topic. So, guys, I'm a really big fan of Google's Gboard keyboard. Whenever I have an Android device, it's the primary keyboard that I use. I think it's the most accurate. It does the best job of correcting spelling issues, and I just find I can type really quick on it. It's definitely, in my opinion, the best keyboard that's out there at the moment. There was an update to the keyboard that has a new feature where it actually allows you to write in text fields. So Samsung's had this for a while, obviously having the Note series and the Ultra series, and having stylus support for most of their devices. You could write in a text field with the S Pen, and it would pick it up as text. Now Google has borrowed that, I guess you could say, and added it to the Gboard. And basically, when you go into settings, there is a new feature, which it's called Write in Text Fields. So you've got multiple options that you can actually use for the stylus. So you can delete. So you can grab your stylus and you can scratch out a letter, a word, or a phrase to delete it. You can select by drawing a circle around a word or a letter. You can insert, and you can do that just by dropping the arrow. You can join, so you can draw like a vertical line between text and insert a space, or merge the text before and after the space, and you can do a new line. So if you draw down and then left with your stylus, you can move to the next line. So yeah, really cool. Obviously, Google's probably going to have a lot of devices coming out in the near future. I'm thinking in this scenario, devices like the OnePlus Open, Pixel tablets, Chromebooks, that type of thing. They're all going to obviously have really good handwriting recognition. So personally, I think Samsung does a really good job of handwriting recognition. I found it quite accurate when I used it. I used to have a Galaxy Note 10? No, 20? I can't remember what it was now. But I had the 9 and then I had the 20. I can't remember. Yeah, it does a very good job of picking up handwriting. So I imagine Google will have similar technology. It's just, I'm glad they've added it. It's definitely a welcome addition. So you have to check what version of Gboard you're running. You have to make sure that you're currently using version 13.7. If you update to that, you will have the handwriting mode. So all you have to do is make sure you've got an update that, and then you're good to go, and you can start using stylus support in the keyboard, which is great. All right, let's move on to the Nothing Phone 2A. This was rumored a while ago, and there's been some more updates, so let's have a quick chat. So guys, just to finish off the podcast, I was looking at an article on GSM Arena, and I also seen this on Twitter this morning, but there are rumors right now that there's a brand new device coming from Nothing. It's the Nothing Phone 2A, obviously a mid-range handset. There isn't a lot of information, but this is the first time I've actually seen some screenshots of the device. It's believed that it's going to have a MediaTek Dimensity 7200 chipset, and it'll have a slightly redesigned look and feel. It'll have a 3-glyph interface styling on the back, so that's the lights on the back. Here's what else we know. It's got 120 hertz OLED panel. It'll have 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage. It'll have a 50 megapixel dual camera setup. It comes with Nothing OS 2.5, Android 14, and it's a new layout on the back. And we'll also get similar controls to how your glyphs work with the Nothing Phone 2. It says it's going to be $400 launch price, which that's pretty good, I think, for the price. The thing is, the images show the front of the device, but whenever there's a new device like this that's being sent to case makers and different brands and stuff, you typically only ever see the phone in like a hard shell. Like the case makers and Nothing put this shell on it so that if it does unfortunately get leaked, you don't get to see all of the device. You're only really getting to see what the front screen looks like and then where the camera placement is. What's weird is the camera placement in this phone is very central. It's not to the top left or top right, and it's basically, yeah, I don't really like it. I don't really like the placement. Hopefully it looks way better with the glyph interface around it, but personally, I really liked the look of the Nothing Phone 2. I think it was a very nice looking device, very symmetrical. I really liked the placement of the glyphs. It's been a long time since I've seen any kind of smartphone developer put cameras, two like side-by-side cameras with a bump in the center of the device. It just doesn't look, it just looks weird. So we'll have to wait and see what the final design looks like. But yeah, right now, I'm not a fan. Anyway, yeah, it's going to be a cheap phone, $400. The Dimensity 7200, I think, is a pretty decent chip. Let's have a look. Dimensity 7200. Where's that? So it does well with battery life. It's Antutu score is 709,570. Geekbench score, single core is 1183, multi-core is 2620, and a 3D Mark score of 4166. So that's pretty good. That's not too bad. Yeah, anyway, when we get some more updates on it, guys, and we actually get to see what the device looks like, I'll do a bit more of an update. I just wanted to say this is going to be my last podcast for the year. I've got lots of people, lots of family coming to stay with me in the next week or so. So I'm just going to have a break and pick it up in the new year. I actually started this podcast as a video podcast, but due to some issues with audio, I just went audio only. And I think in the new year, I'll go back to doing video and audio. I've just noticed that on YouTube, I get the most views and listens. So I think I'm just going to swap back to doing video. I'd actually really love to know, like, do you prefer listening just to the audio, like while you're in the car, or do you want to watch it while you're on YouTube? So let me know, guys. I do look at your feedback and emails, and I do appreciate it. But other than that, guys, have a great New Year period, and I'll see you in 2024. Cheers.